Arise for a strong dose of love, joy, laughter, and information for healthy living.
Well, we're living in our purpose because God put us on this earth. Our purpose.
Thank you for joining us here on Arise Show, where we inform and inspire. And I am so pleased to invite, or welcome, should I say, welcome Perry Whaley to the show. Welcome, Perry. How you doing? And you driving, and you're just so busy.
Well, this is what I love about Zoom and being a part of shows is that you can do it while you're on the road. That's with technology today. You can do an interview while you're driving. But it's an honor and pleasure, Miss Smiley, to be here today, and I'm looking forward to some great conversation. And hey, let the show begin.
Let it begin. Let it begin. Because we always have conversation.
Right.
Well, we have you here today to talk about vitiligo.
Okay.
Many people don't know much about it. We see it, and what I have appreciated is that now I'm starting to see on different commercials how the population is being represented. So that is a positive, don't you think?
I would say so. I would say it's great progress. First of all, my name is Perry, and I'm the Vitiligo Man of Action. That's my nonprofit organization. And let me kind of share with you a little bit about what vitiligo is and how it affected my life. First of all, I wasn't born with vitiligo. And vitiligo is not just an African American disease. It is a condition or disorder, condition, disease. Some people give it different names, right? But it has all nationalities acquire this condition. 1% of all Americans acquire it. It does not discriminate. So 25 years ago, for me, I started to get a white spot on my skin and didn't know anything about what it was. So I just didn't pay any attention. But then as it grew, I went to a dermatologist, and the dermatologist shared with me it was vitiligo. Still, at this point, it was so small and not in the way of anything, it didn't bother me. So I just went on and acted as if it never happened. And then over the course of 25 years to the present is how long it has taken for it to spread all over my body. And now I would say about 75 to 85% of my body is pretty much one tone. And
So Perry, how did that affect your lifestyle? How did it affect you? Your experience with that whole process, the change of the pigment. How did that affect you?
well, for me, the greatest gift God gave me was the opportunity to be uh, vocal before I had vitiligo. So
Wow.
what it did for me in the early stages, it allowed me an opportunity to not, you hear me? It allowed me an opportunity to not be as aggressive as I was, because I've been in the automobile industry for over 30 years, and I'm used to being kind of aggressive, and it pulled me back from being aggressive and being a
Wow.
person that really wanted to be in a spotlight. Now,
Wow.
I think that we had a conversation just yesterday with some people, and this was the question. Being in high school, your friends were there to nurture you and kind of grow up with your vitiligo if you were a child, right?
Right.
So if you are a person now that had vitiligo in your early stages of your life, and you had to go into the world, go to college, to the Air Force, go into the work field, could you cope with that kind of change? And for most
Wow.
people, that's been a real transition for people, because the people you knew, just like, oh, that's just vitiligo. The people you
Right.
don't know what it is, and now you get the stares and the questions and the oohs and the ahs. So it becomes a mental capacity now, mental health part for you,
Right.
and it's real deep that people go into deep depressions and committing suicide because everybody doesn't have the coping skills that I have.
Right.
So the transition is it for me. It was kind of, I mean, it was rough at first. I mean, not rough, but it was. I'm gonna use the word transition. It was a transition for me, and then as I became more confident and being around people in Atlanta. 'Cause I was from Virginia and I came to Atlanta. I didn't know nobody. So my first thing was women aren't going to be attracted to me.
Right.
And that kind of took me back stages because I was a guy that stages in my life to an infant because I
Right.
was always, women were always attracted to me from my perspective anyway. I don't know that. I just think they were anyway.
Right.
But and being a car salesman is all about appearance. So when it started happening to me, I felt like people wouldn't want to touch my hands or talk to me because they, people are just not open to change,
Well, you know, it's funny you would
especially when
say
it's out appearance. It's tough. It was tough.
it's funny that you would say, well, ironic that you would say you mentioned about high school. And I do remember
Right.
I do remember a student who had it, and it's and then after, you know, people don't know, but I've had you to come to talk to different to talk in for in different events, you know, prior to this. And so because of
Right.
you, I've learned more about it, and having worked in a setting of teenagers, I understand the social emotional connection to it. But to go back in my high school and middle school experience, I do remember a student who had it. And I do remember over a period of time, I noticed the student, you know, using some type of coverage or to cover. And even then, I would say to myself, why is she doing that? But
Well,
why is she doing that? Because I didn't see anything wrong with it, you know, but you connected, you made sense out of that, saying as you get older, the social emotional connection that goes along with that.
see, Miss Smiley, it's just like being with women. Women wear makeup to make them feel beautiful sometimes, And this is you gotta realize people have cancer, AIDS, and all these other conditions that people have. But guess what? Most of the time, AIDS is not external. Cancer is not external until it gets to extreme. Vitiligo is external and it's extreme all the time. So just imagine a full day of your life that everywhere you go, people look at you all day, every day, and they asking you questions about what is that. And some people are so rude; they don't ask you questions. They assume that you were burnt. They tell you you look like a cow. They tell you you know different things, that you're not really used to hearing. You know what I'm saying? So my thing would be is for me, vitiligo has changed my life to a plus. I mean,
Okay.
it gave me places to speak at. It gave me I wanted to be a motivational speaker, and it introduced all those things to me.
Right.
How many people spoke at Tuskegee University?
Not
you
many,
know,
you.
right,
Now
right. So
I
hey,
know one.
look, look, and Miss Smiley, how many people do you know have been invited to the Black Caucus? And for your condition, so
Right.
vitiligo has allowed me to have an organization and everything. So for me, it was like a blessing. I always wanted to be in the spotlight. I was going to my life coach the other day, and she said, and then when I was talking to my life coach, she said, "Perry, you like attention." I said, "You're absolutely right. I do." I said, "I do. I don't demand attention, but I like attention because I've been a top salesman for years. I've been on championship little league teams where I was a star on that team. So these things came by way of hard work.
Right.
And you see what I'm saying? So for her to say that,
And
I
to
was like, oh,
maintain and to maintain your position at the top.
yes, yes. And I promise you, being on the top, you're gonna be the most hated person in the world. So for vitiligo, vitiligo humbled me because I ain't gonna say God took away. I'm gonna say this. He gave me a gift, and he made me see that people are more valuable than the look that they carry.
Right.
Or if you see somebody in a wheelchair, I can understand how they feel. If somebody got a broken arm and they can't move and they feel like they're out of place, I can understand how you feel because I got this condition all the time.
Right.
And my question would be to you, Miss Smiley, what would you do if you look like this? You know what I mean?
Right.
What would you do?
And you don't know.
Right.
If I had the skin disorder, I don't know. I can't tell you what I would do. I don't know.
So to answer your question, and really what it's done for me is really helped me to empower all walks of life, because people come up to me when I went to Tuskegee University and spoke. There were so many beautiful young ladies in the audience, right? And little did I know, half of them had low self-esteem. So when they saw me come in and light the place up, they were like, wow, if we only had your courage that you had, or your excitement about life, I would be different. And I was like, wow, yeah. And I'm looking here thinking, y'all the most beautiful women I ever seen. And
right.
Y'all thinking that, and your self-esteem is that low? Well, let me continue to talk and share with you how it is to empower people. And so those have been some highlights for me. Have there been downsides? There has, but my strength with vitiligo is so powerful. People don't address me in just any kind of way. They don't. Some of the stories I heard, people say, "Oh, you like a pig," or no, they don't bring that to me. I've never
right.
I've never gotten those kind of things.
But that's we kind of jumped into it. Let's give a explanation of vitiligo to our listeners and those who are watching. An explanation of how the whole process of vitiligo and exactly what it is.
Okay, well, vitiligo is a autoimmune deficiency. It's an autoimmune deficiency, and at this the greatest part about it is that no one has any real information on it to tell you what you can do or what you can't do at this point. Right. They only have case studies. All right, and right now to this very day, the first thing that they offer me, which you asked about before, was Dermablend makeup. All right, and that's what it's called, Dermablend. And so I tried it too. I wanted to see if it was gonna work. I tried it. I said, nah, I couldn't do this kind of preparation each and every day. And plus the makeup didn't match my skin. So I wasn't trying that.
That's another area.
Right. That's another area. So to really sum up what it is, it's an autoimmune deficiency where your skin doesn't have any melanocytes in it. So all the areas where you see that are white, the patches, you don't have any melanocytes in your skin. It's like it's attacking. They're fighting. The skin is fighting your melanocytes. They're fighting, and that's how it's when you see the loss of pigmentation in a person's skin. That's what's happening. That's the biological stuff that's happening. And then there are some other things that go along with that's come along with mine. I have an overactive thyroid. Mine is overactive, and that was associated with vitiligo, and because I never had that, and then once I got vitiligo, I found out that it was associated with having vitiligo, because autoimmune covers a lot of areas of your life, and you can be affected by a lot of stuff. So we have to be very cautious. Okay.
Now, is this hereditary?
They say it is in some cases, but no one. Now, a bloodline of mine could have had it years ago. I mean, back in the day, but none of my immediate family has vitiligo.
So it doesn't have like the firstborn or the first generation. Doesn't necessarily mean that your children would have it. It could be somewhere down the
line, but no one in my family at this point has had it. Now, if it could run in my kids, you know what I mean? Right. But up until this point, no one in my family has had vitiligo.
Okay, so what would you say to because now also another thing we want to point out is that this, like you said, it didn't happen to you in your teens, right? In your teens.
No.
And it happened to you in your adult years.
Yes. I went to college. So the good part about mine is that's why my story is not so sad. Is because I went to college and everything. So I had built an identity of confidence all the way to the age of 20, 25. So when it happened to me, this is something I share in my book as well. But I want you to know this on your show because I think this is very important. I was incarcerated for 10 years. And I turned 25 when I was incarcerated, and I got out when I was 36. Okay.
Wow.
So when I got out, when I went in, I didn't have vitiligo. So people saw me with brown skin. When I came for the whole 10 years, my skin was changing. So no one had seen me for 10 years. And then, so I had a big fear of vitiligo because my whole world had changed.
Well, you had a lot to deal with, Perry. You had been, out of the main society for years, and then you also haven't like your skin changing. So that was a lot to deal with, to come back and try to fit in and to get back into the move of everything. With everything going on, everything had changed for you.
Everything had changed, and now I'm not the guy that I was. So people would see me; they could see me. I heard that voice before, but I don't really recognize you. But once you start talking to me, I'm sure you'll recognize who I am. But even if I go home right now, people still don't. Sometimes people don't know. But I'm just the kind of guy that if they hear my voice, they know who I am.
Oh wow! So what would you say to the teenagers or who is going through this now? What would you say to them?
The first thing I would say is reach out to a sponsor or a mentor, somebody in the community, because what we didn't have that teenagers have now are mentors like myself. I didn't have this when I was going through my journey. I had no one to talk to. There are so many platforms now for you to talk to people. Reach out to somebody you're comfortable with, whether it be somebody with vitiligo or not. But make that step to reaching out to somebody.
Good. And
that's what I was.
I have to be transparent. I think this was before I met you, Perry. This had happened, and again, I knew about vitiligo, but I didn't know the whole background of it. But I do remember being in a dollar store, and I was just minding my business, and I was in the aisle, and I just happened to look up, and when I'm a jumpy person anyway. Not to make any excuses. I'm very jumpy, like anything. But I just happened to look up, and when I looked over, there was a gentleman who had vitiligo. It was widespread. It was widespread. And I was just, it just took me by surprise. And I had to question myself because I was thinking, I know I'm a jumpy person. Like if someone comes, I'm jumping. Or did I jump because of that? Or did I jump because of his appearance? And I felt so bad because I had, every now and then you have to check yourself. If you go through life and don't check yourself, your intentions, then, you
right.
are living the wrong life. You live the wrong life. And I had to check myself. But after even at that moment, I wanted to go and apologize. So I called. Look, I'm there in the store, and I called one of my friends. I told him I'm going to talk. He said, "No, let it go. Just go and cash out and let it go." But my point is, looking back at his expression, it was like as if it wasn't nothing new to him. Although I did speak, although I was nice and, and how are you doing? But that initial reaction.
Yeah. And what what you'll find out, Miss Smiley, is that is the reaction of most people, because most people with vitiligo have been ridiculed. They've been had the stones thrown at them, and their skin. A lot of people confidence is nowhere near where mine is. So I don't want you to misinterpret that when you see somebody with vitiligo that they're going to be as jolly as I am. They might not even speak to you because they might feel like you're kind of egging on them without egging on them. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't used to people speaking to them and asking them questions. They used to not giving you eye contact,
right,
and kind of moving on. So it's but with the help of what we've been doing in the last 5 years, my organization is a lifestyle. It's not a group of people. It's really just me, and people help participate when I do an event or something. But my whole purpose of the Vitiligo Man of Action was to empower people to have a lifestyle, and they could see somebody that would, with celebrities, local communities, representatives, and people of influence. And then when you start seeing it, you can say, I can go out there, I can be just like him. And that's what my whole purpose was.
So exactly, your organization, exactly what do you do?
Well, I mentor and empower. I mentor, empower, and bring awareness. I was a part of a 30-city tour. I've had opportunities to lecture at churches, numerous colleges. I've been on a few TV shows, been on the news here in Atlanta. And I work with a number of schools to mentor not just people with vitiligo, but people. I educate families, communities on what it is. So when they see it, the bullying that occurs with people who have vitiligo is phenomenal.
The bullying, and let me
yes.
include this. The bullying is at any age, in any stage of your life.
Right. But being different, it gives you that many more opportunities to be bullied, and in our community, people have been bullied. So those are the things that I have done outside of doing events to bring the community awareness up, is what my organization is all about. My organization is about bringing people together for one cause. And that's what I do.
And how can someone be a part of that organization?
Well, basically, all you got to do is call me. You can call me at 678-755-3525. Contact me directly, and then whatever part of helping out you would like to be a part of it, we can sit down and find out how we can put together to help your organization as well. So we support other organizations by doing things as well.
Great. Now, you say you had a book out. What's the name of your book?
The name of my book? That has nothing to do with vitiligo, but it does have it. Well, yeah, it does. It does have it.
Look, we're just talking now. You gotta.
Okay. Well, my book is called My Three Wives: Lessons Learned on Choosing a Mate, and I love it. It's on Amazon and all the online platforms, and it's been doing really, really well. Because what I found out is, when I wrote the book, I found out that there are more people that have been married twice than once.
That is so true.
Yes. And the only way you can bring that out of them is so now they don't feel alone. I say, my book is called My Three Wives: Lessons Learned on Choosing a Mate. And the reason why the book is so relevant is because it's for people who have been married for 30 years. You know why? Because you've been married 30 years, and I bet you if you ask the person why did they marry their wife, if they don't answer that question the first time, then my book is relevant to them. and I shouldn't have to answer that question for you. I should not have to answer that question. If Miss Smiley, if I was to marry you today, I'm just giving you like a scenario. Yeah. The scenario would be, I love Miss Smiley. If the man does not say that, then he needs to read my book.
Really?
If the woman does not say, I love that man, if that's the primary reason why I married my wife. My wife, the reason I married my wife is because I love her. This is my 4th marriage.
Wow. So did you love the other 3 too?
No.
So those were not your reasons.
No, those were not my reasons. And
Wow.
that's what inspired me. Look, I'm gonna give you some nerves because the book is a hot book. The reason I married wife number 1 because I was in college and she got pregnant. Thought that was the right thing to do. My 2nd marriage, I was incarcerated. So I had a reason to want to.
You need somewhere to stay when you got out.
I need somewhere to stay. But and on my last one, I was 50 years old at that time, and I felt obligated. That life obligated me at that time.
You were ready. It was time.
Yes, and none of those, and not to take anything. All of them, I really cared about all of them, but I didn't even know what love was till today. After my 4th wife is getting the residual pay from everything I've been through.
Right.
And now I love her. She's my best friend. I never had that in any of my other relationships.
Wow. You never thought to try to establish that in any of the other relationships?
No, right. I never thought to because of where I came from. I was like, we all always had 2 girlfriends. You know what I mean? We all had them uncles that drove good cars, and we thought, I like to be like him.
That's how you want to be. That's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be. And you know, you bring the bacon home, and I leave on Friday to go with my other girlfriend.
And come back on Monday.
I come back on Monday, and everybody in my age category from around the way I was from, we had 2 parents, but that's how it went in my house.
That's how it went.
Now, my mother didn't like it, and my father didn't intentionally go out and stay. He would say, come home, shower up after work. My mama happy because she get the money. So he only takes what he was supposed to take for his spending money, but he might get caught up out there drinking and having a good time. And now every man that I know that have children that are fathers today, they can say they understand some of the stuff that their fathers went through and their mothers went through, because I can't imagine having 5 kids. No, I had to take care of them. Nope. I'm a drink.
And then you look at how young they were.
Yes.
Yeah, like your parents, for the most part, started a family at the age of 24, 23. Yes. Can you imagine being 23 and 24? I'm like, when I was 20, I was not thinking about a family. So, but it's your parents and your father. Think about a man taking on that responsibility at 23 and 24, and you know, and carrying on those responsibilities, and it's a lot. And think of the mentality of your this during that stage.
And then when you ask about the book, there is so much conversation with Black love and love today that my book is so relevant to create the most exciting table talk for men and women, because we do a lot of Black love events and couple events.
Oh, look at my shirt, love, Black love. Look, I have to save this shirt and wear it again when we have a big topic, and we can also have Mrs. Whaley, because she have a book also
called My 3 Husbands.
My 3 Husbands.
Yes, and you need to hear
this. I'm gonna wear this.
And I will let her know she need to come on the show. But my thing is this here, Miss Smiley, is the book. She inspired me to write it because when we got married, we had been friends for 5 years. And we were just strictly friends. She was married and I was married to the wrong people. You know, I even went to her engagement little party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, me and my wife. You know, so her and my wife weren't really friends. Me and her husband weren't friends, but they knew they knew we knew each other because we did a lot of work together, and we never crossed the lines. We never crossed the lines. So that's one thing I can always say. But God brought the woman in my life who was more compatible to who I am.
Wow.
And that's so now she's my last and final time.
That's it. This is it. And she's a beautiful person. She really is.
And what I learned is it has to be two beautiful people, Miss Miley. That's why I will talk on behalf of Black love in the most positive way. I will encourage every Black man to embrace his wife, his girlfriend, his mother, his sister, because you women are something really special. And it took me 55 years. It'll be 56 this year. It took me 55 years to be able to say I understand what love is today.
Wow. And it takes a real person being transparent enough to admit that, especially as a man, to say that now I know what it is.
I know what it is. You know, I was watching Deion Sanders. He was on. They were doing like an NFL talk with men, and he was just saying, if you just watch what your wife will tell you what she wants. If she touch you on the shoulder, touch her back on her shoulder. And it made sense if she tells you, if you come in the house, she said, how was your day? She just wants to hear how your day was.
Right.
And ask her how her day was. And that made a lot of sense because women do give you the key. And that's why, like I tell my wife is I ain't gonna say she's a jealous wife, but she is a protective one. Because I am so transparent with women. And before I met her, all my friends are women. Mm-hmm. And everybody on social media, if they don't know, they know now that I'm married.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, because my wife tells me every day, she, you know, social media has got me where I can't even walk around. Boy, I can't even, I know I don't want to talk to you because I know you married, so you might as well keep on going. But it's a blessing that me and her, we can do so many fun things. I don't even desire to do anything with too many other people besides her these days. And I'm glad I got that.
That's a good thing.
Age. It is. It's a beautiful thing, Miss Miley. And so the book is doing well. And so I'll get my check at the end of the year. You know, so last year, look, before I even wrote the book, I said a check came in the mail from a publishing company. I was like, what is this for? It got my name on. I said, I just wrote the book.
Wow. And you encouraging me, you encouraged me to do a book, so I have an idea and I'm getting ready to push it out.
I'll tell you, it's gonna be fulfilling to you, Miss Miley, because you know what? If you could tell your story and one person want to hear it,
but mine would be through poems. I'm not that transparent.
But you know what?
I haven't gotten there yet. I actually keep a journal, right?
Uh-huh.
I keep a journal, and even in my journal, I hold back what I say in my journal. So I'm working on that.
And you have to. I'm gonna tell you what I would recommend. I recommend having a coach, somebody that's open to hear you spill your beans and not gonna judge you for it. And then that way they can hear some of your hurt, your pain to help you come through it. Because if not, you're gonna carry that into the next relationship. You're gonna carry it into your next journey of life because you don't know how to deal with it. Right now, like I told my coach, I said I read a book called Understanding Your Emotions, right?
Wow.
And understanding your emotions is huge. And 90% of all Americans don't understand their emotions.
I don't understand their emotions.
No, because right now, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And if you did, I promise you, you'll be a better person. Because all the time, you would have taken ownership on your past relationship. Don't look at it being a bad thing. Look at what you didn't do in that relationship, and when you take ownership of it, you took.
I didn't do anything.
Ooh! Oh my God! millions and billions of dollars.
No,
Wow.
I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. But I think another courageous part of being transparent, which you are showing now, especially as a man, is that, you know, that you're admitting that you do see a life coach. Now, it's funny that I keep saying it's funny, but another thing is I have decided to actually see a counselor, and I am a counselor, right?
Right.
And I saw a counselor, but taking that step to see a counselor, and like you said, to have someone where, and I'm being transparent right now because I encourage people to go out and not always depend on that friendship counseling session.
Right. Because that's
You
not
know,
good.
sometimes that friendship counseling session, it can go kind of left field at times. So, but with this, you to move to the direction of actually seeing a counselor, talking to a counselor, everything's virtual now. So talking to a counselor and being able to just say, like you said, spill all your beans out, and guess what?
Judged.
And you know what my theory is? And they get paid to hear it.
Listen. Yeah.
To listen. To listen and hear the same thing over and over. It doesn't matter how many times you have to repeat it. So It is a good thing. I want to let you know that it has helped me because, you know, like I said, I'm a counselor, and you help people get through their emotions and follow through their problems and take them through their process. But then for you to do it, it really does. I would recommend it.
You know what she told me? You know what she told me? She said, when you get at home, turn it off. Turn it off. Turn that energy off. Because you and know what she does to me? She put the hand up. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say right now. Stop it. It's not your time right now. You already prolonged your conversation. So it helps me. And even being a motivation speaker, you have to know when to shut the, you know, you don't want to go on and on and on and on. You know, the only reason I'm going on and on now because I'm supposed to go on and on and on and on. I got something I want to share.
A very good show.
Yeah, I want to share something with you that's very, very important, and it's gonna and you might even be able to gravitate to it. This is for those who are suffering from drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
How vitiligo at one time played a part in my after really looking back, how it played a part in my drug and alcohol abuse, okay, was the unacceptance of my people I didn't have at one time when my confidence was low.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So when you're around people who are drinking, they don't care what you look like if you're buying a drink.
You look blurred anyway. You blurred anyway.
Right. Now, when you're doing drugs, once again, people don't look at you when you're buying the drugs because that doesn't matter to them. They don't see that. They just want what the alcohol or the drug. So a person with low self-esteem is now getting love from that bad element, and you're feeling normal going into that because you're being loved by those people because you got money to buy what they need.
Right.
And they don't even talk about it. Oh man, you look different. No, let's drink some beer. And now we're medicating. So people with vitiligo go through that mental state of drug and alcohol depression and all kinds of things. And people don't even think that. They say this, oh, it ain't nothing but some skin. You still look beautiful. Excuse my, is it okay to curse on your show? It ain't. No, I'm just joking. But look, it's a lie because vitiligo is beautiful because people have started accepting different. Right. You know, LB. What is it? The LBG or what's the what's group?
LBGQ.
Right. For many years, people didn't accept that lifestyle. Now you see
LB,
men,
thank you. I'm sorry.
you see people kissing on TV, men and women. So now being different is the end thing. You see what I'm saying? So my vitiligo, oh man, you look like a piece of art, beautiful, blah blah blah. So people address it differently now,
Right.
and it
And
also depends. It also depends on where you live at too, Miss Smiley. The demographics of how healthy your community is makes a heck of a difference. Yes.
and I was about to say something similar to that. Your environment makes a big difference.
Yes.
It makes a big difference. And I guess if you were to live in another area where
Right.
it's not as diverse.
That is
Diverse is
diverse.
the main key. Diversity.
Yeah, because people think it's just a black person's disease, and it's not, because most nationalities don't talk about vitiligo. And not to get off the book, but we got so many things we can talk about.
We back on track now.
Yes, and I just wanted to share that, because when you get a chance to change a person's life from your story, it's more powerful than anything you could ever buy or sell. See, and I had to remember that when I first started, it wasn't for monetary gain. It was just to be a part of somebody's life. And I had to go reboot, recharge myself, and say, Perry, you have to allow God to order your steps in, because I did a lot of stuff in this community. And do I want to be recognized? I would say yes. Not so much for popularity as opposed to it is to gain credibility for revenue to operate my organization, to do more for people. You know, that's what my goal was, to set out and be the next Susan G. Komen of vitiligo. Have that empire where people, I got a building, I got foundation situations where I can get scholarships out and do runs every year that brings about millions and millions of dollars in. But no one finds it relevant. It's not relevant enough, because what I may have to do is get on the Empire State Building and hang off and say, with my flag, vitiligo flag, and say, I ain't gonna get down until y'all give me some money for vitiligo, or
Right.
or make it a day. In the United States, vitiligo is not recognized for like breast cancer awareness. We don't have a physical date. We chose June the 25th because Michael Jackson died during that time.
Right.
And he had vitiligo.
Well, it's prevalent among, maybe the most is like what 2% of the population worldwide. And another point you made is that it's not cancer, is not thought of as something deadly, or it's not a terminal illness or anything.
Right.
So, and people don't feel like, you're not hurting. You're not hurting. But if you think about mental illness, people are just starting to, the society rather, just starting to embrace mental illness as a real issue. So,
I was because you can actually be discriminated against with vitiligo. I've been in the automobile industry for 30 years, and I've been dying to get them to put me on a poster board to represent their company. How could you not have your best man not being plastered on a campaign for two things? For a cause, you're letting your business know, you're letting the world know I'm a diverse business owner. You're letting the world know that I have a top salesman that has this condition, and he's letting nothing stop him. Just think about it, Miss Smiley. Just think about if you sit down, coming to your school where I first met you at. It was ironic. Your assistant principal had vitiligo.
Right.
And my whole reason for coming to your school was I didn't want my daughter to be bullied in middle school. So I did it in her elementary school, and I wanted to do it in every grade so that people wouldn't bully her. So if they saw me coming to pick my daughter up the next day in school, somebody might say, "Oh, who's that ugly man that came to pick you up?" And now she has to defend that. So by the time my daughter had got to you guys, she was already educated enough not to fight you because you said something about my dad, as opposed to educating you. Well, that's vitiligo, and she could let it go. And then the administrators met me, and from that point on, every school she went to, I've been a part of.
That's great, and you have been you played a very integral role in informing people and the youth about the vitiligo, because I was very informed about it because of you. And we kind of digressed a little bit, but that's okay, because now Arise is on 2 platforms now. We're on YouTube and we're on livation.com Sundays 12 to 2. And so on livation.com, people will get to hear the entire interview, everything unedited, uncut, just all Perry Whaley.
Well, all I can say is this here. If anybody knows Miss Smiley, she's about helping people, and she and I've been friends now. She was a counselor at the school, and it's just ironic that she said she's not, but I was advised that she was the head counselor, and I need to go see her when I first got.
You better stop.
And for all those who don't think she is, I'm gonna say she is, because she helped me to have a platform at the school. I had a whole day at Salem Middle School because of Miss Smiley, and she told them kids, she had them kids straightened out when I came in there. They were all attentive. And every year about the time that you allowed me to come to school, it pops up on my feed every year.
It really.
No, it pops up on my social media feed every year.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and we had over 1 million people view that broadcast.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. We did a great job on that. I don't know. I never thought it really made that much difference. But when I go back and I look at it, it's 1.5 million. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or is the 1K? What's the 1K? Is that 1 million or is that 100,000? Whatever.
That's 1,000. That's 1,000.
No, what's the 1.4? What's that? On social media, you look at how the likes and whatever it is, whatever it is.
1,000. I thought. I don't know.
Yeah. It's 1.5, 1.4 thousand or whatever it is. We got it. So it made a difference in people's lives when they saw. Because you know what? How many people do you know often get a chance to speak to over? How many students do y'all have at Salem Middle School?
We have 1,200.
Over 1,200 people in
yeah.
And I got a chance to be there all day long.
Yes, you were. All grade levels.
All grade levels. So to me, that's a huge resume.
Yeah. And to keep them engaged, that was a lot for middle school.
Yes. And thanks to your staff and everybody at Salem Middle School.
Of course.
I love the school. That's like one of my partner schools. They gave me an opportunity when Ella said no, so I thank Ms. Smiley for engineering that, and the show that she's promoting and editing, and she's the editing chief, she's the host, she's the everything. Y'all support the show. It's gonna be a great one, and all I can say is keep God first and let him order the steps of your show, and I promise you'll be fulfilled. And don't think of and that's what it is.
Thank you so much. And again, we gotta have you on here to talk about this Black love. And I'm gonna make sure I wear my shirt. And then y'all, make sure I wear my shirt again. Black love.
Well, you said it. You tell me what date. And Mr. and Mrs. Whaley, because she's the lovepreneur. She's into That's all
Yeah,
she does.
I checked out her. Well, I missed the Zoom, but I'm friends with her with the on Facebook. So
So she's trying, and right now, and look, since it's gonna be on all
and she
platforms,
has a testimony to share too. So that's something to talk about too. Oh my God.
and she is now. They have a wig company
Oh.
that I'm part owner. I'm part owner, since you said since you want me to tell it all. Uh, um, on short hair, it's short hair, it's short wigs, and I promise you, we were at the Black Wall Street Marketplace in Stonecrest
Uh-huh.
a couple 2 weeks ago. They
Yeah.
did phenomenal. They do the wigs right there while you're there.
Oh no.
Yeah, they have them on the mannequins to show you which one you want, and then they fix you up right there.
Wow. I have to look into that.
Yes, and I'm talking about. And look, Miss Smiley, you'll never know the beauty of your looks until you get one of those short
I
wigs.
get a win.
Because my wife, she wears them, and she got long hair. I was like, why you wearing?
I always want another alter ego. I want to see how Stasia would act with a wig on.
Look, short hair and high heel shoes. Ooh, you can't get by that one. And that's my wife. She tell me, baby, I don't know. I'm gonna change up because that's the way I just love it, and I love it when you look different, and because I know that you could take it off and you still look the same.
Right.
I thought the people that wear wigs were just people who had alopecia or had no hair at all. No,
oh, really?
That's
No.
what I thought. Mm-mm. My grandmama had a hair full of hair. She throw a wig on so fast because it's like a cap. You can turn it, you can flip it, rub it down, and do whatever you want to do. But yeah, that's where I am at Miss Molly. And I want to say, first of all, it's an honor to have been chosen to be on your show, and I really appreciate any exposure to the awareness of vitiligo and my life in general. I am transparent because I feel like being transparent is great. You know what? I'm gonna give you this scenario, and I gotta share this one. An internet stalker tried to bash my name. Now, I'm gonna say this, since I'm transparent, I'm gonna put it out there because it was already out there. Kelly's ex-husband went on social media and said that I was a drug addict, I was this and that. But if you know my story, I'm not afraid to tell you I use drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? And
Right.
the whole world knows my transparency. That's one of my growth. And that I had been to prison and all that. He put that on social media. So what he did was he boosted my ratings because everybody knew my story. But when you came attacking me, people wanted to find out, why were you attacking this man? And then when they found out that you were the ex-husband of the woman he loved, you heard what I said, the ex-husband of the woman he loved, then your claim to fame fizzed out very, very, very quickly.
Right.
Yeah, so went through that, and people, I didn't know it. People called me, they said, it's this guy on Facebook, Instagram, trying to get into our vitiligo community to bash you. So
wow.
and my vitiligo community loves me. So how you gonna bash? And everybody already know the journey because I tell it all the time.
So it's good to tell your own story.
Yeah. So this is what I tell. And before we close this out, because we look like we got 4 minutes left. We started at 11:18, 11:20. My thing is, at 10:20, whatever. But my thing is, if you are transparent and you know who you are, guess what, Miss Smiley? Nobody can hurt you.
Nobody.
Nobody can hurt, and people hurt you with secrets. I've never been molested. I had a great childhood. I got 2 wonderful children. I don't know that. I don't know a lot of pain that people have, but I understand pain. Let me share one thing with you. Miss Smiley, for all those who have been incarcerated and you're listening, or for those who have just gone through a year of incarceration. All the people that we're talking to right now, Miss Smiley, that are hearing me, hearing my voice, they all just went through 1 year of incarceration with the pandemic. So that I can share with you and close this out with a bang. Incarceration is everything you just went through for 1 year. Now, I want you to ask yourself, how many of you could have come out of incarceration of 10 years of your life of being who you are and doing what I'm doing today, being successful, being respectful, and just being a citizen of the United States and of your community? Now, and everybody don't have that story to say. And let me just share with you, it's not easy doing that, because I still had my challenges in the 21 years that I've been out of prison. I've still had my challenges with saying, you know, so I know what it takes to be successful after imprisonment. So if anybody wanted to go on a journey or needed some help with some, come see me, because that's another part of what my organization does. It mentors people not only with vitiligo, but people who've been incarcerated, low self-esteem, all those things, because a person can't, if you've never been through it, you can't teach it.
Right.
As effectively as my life experiences is going to, I promise you, on a one-on-one, and I'll challenge any counselor, any principal, any administrator, and we can go one-on-one on a Zoom or anything. I am challenging all school system in the county, juvenile justice system and everything. Get on the platform with me and watch who has the most interesting conversation with the audience. It won't be you, I promise. But once again, I'm Perry, Vitiligo Man of Action, coming to you live from Miss Smiley Show. And it's been a pleasure to be with you, and I hope you learned something.
Well, thank you for closing out my show.
I know. No. Hey, look, this is live. So look, you can't make no mistakes on live. Hey, look, you see how the hostess came in and said you close out the show? I didn't close out. I just closed out my portion of it. So now let's hear Miss Smiley and see what she got to say.
No, we're just gonna drop the mic right there. Thank you, Perry Whaley, for coming on the Rise Show. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. We're gonna have you definitely. I always say this about different guests that come on the show, but I promise you that we are going to have you back on a Rise Show real soon. Okay.